Hey guys, this is What If Hellboy Was in Jujutsu Kaisen Part 1. Now, I've never done a Jujutsu Kaisen What If, and this is my first time really exploring this universe besides watching it, so let's dive right into this fanfiction. What if Hellboy, from the comics, from Image Comics, was in Jujutsu Kaisen? Let's dive right into it. So we start our story off around episode 6, actually, because I can't just throw him in episode 1, because episode 1 and the first couple episodes are really just there to establish our main character and isn't really there to establish any other characters besides Girl of Steel and the other first character we saw, the black-haired boy. Basically, we get switched to Hellboy. Hellboy's story is complex in this continuity because in this continuity, Hellboy and the investigation, the Bureau of Supernatural Investigation, basically the supernatural FBI in Hellboy's universe, does exist in this universe, is actually in cahoots with these sorcerers in Jujutsu Kaisen. So they're basically in cahoots, and they kind of go after other creatures because cursed spirits are a thing in this world, right? And also sorcerers, Jujutsu sorcerers. But so are other mythical creatures like werewolves, vampires, and other things like trolls and demons. Demons and cursed spirits are basically the same exact thing in this universe. Sometimes cursed spirits can be physical and be somewhat like Hellboy, be physical and be able to be seen by anybody no matter where they are. Some of them are just cursed spirits like in the Jujutsu universe. So to put it simple, the Jujutsu universe and the chaos that demons and other supernaturals make are way bigger, but mainly Jujutsu sorcerers go after mainly cursed spirits and demons, and that's the only two creatures they really go after, well, actively, besides the investigation, the Bureau of Supernatural Investigation or Supernatural Affairs, go mainly after the more physical, more animals and monsters that are kind of like in the underground world, like the troll market, if you've seen Hellboy Golden Army, or you've seen the Hellboy pretty much universe. Put it simple, other characters in the Hellboy franchise will be introduced later, but we're going to be focusing mainly on just Hellboy and his role in the story. So with the investigation being, the Bureau investigation being a part of this universe, we see that Hellboy is actually called on the scene to investigate the aftermath of the cursed spirit and one of the Jujutsu, sorcerers that are kind of, off the rails, and they're talking about getting a cursed lock or cursed spirit box to basically seal off Gojo so they can be able to take him out and do what they have to do. So after this cursed spirit with the volcano on his head would have pretty much murdered everybody in there, turning them all into fiery flames, we see that hours later, basically Hellboy and the investigation bureau were called on scene to basically investigate the happenings, because there was no gas leak, it was no nothing, but they did use gas leak to cover up the situation that happened. Now, they would have started to look around and they would have obviously thought it definitely is some sort of a demon attack going on here. As he starts to try to wander and try to figure out where these creatures are and where he can find them. Now, Hellboy's abilities are same. He still has the Hand of Doom, the Hand of Destruction, but he also still has, Big Baby, that comically like super heavy pistol, shotgun, whatever it's called, that huge ass Glock. So he also was able to see demons and see through the disguises of multiple different supernatural creatures depending on how powerful they are. If they are more powerful than his level, he can't really see them. He can only see their true self through their eyes. So if, let's say, a demon was walking on the streets and was way more powerful than Hellboy and he had shades on, Hellboy wouldn't know the difference unless he was actively focusing directly on that person for a long period of time. So what would happen is, we get switched to Hellboy. And Hellboy's story so far has just been investigating, and we get introduced to his character, as he's introduced to be a very cocky-ish character, but also kind of laid back. As he also has an accomplice with him, that accomplice being one of the third years. Before we get into that, we get switched to the campus, with Megamine and the other students and other third years, or second years. So with that story, we see that Hellboy eventually makes his way down to the actual campus, as he's also accomplished with one of the extra third years in this continuity, this extra third year being Abe. basically the fish guy in Hellboy. If you know him, you know him. So we see that he is actually a third year in this student, and Abe is a little bit younger in this continuity. So he's around the same age as Megamine, or he's the same age as around Maki or Maki, the green haired girl. Jesus Christ, Maki. I think that's her name, Maki. So we see that he introduces himself to the rest of the class, or Megamine, and also he introduces himself to the girl. And honestly, let's be real here. I hate her. She's the most annoying character in this continuity. I'm sorry, bro. I hate her with a passion. I hated her off the rip because she thinks she's so fine. She thinks she's so top. Bro, I'm not gonna hold you. She's the ugliest anime protagonist I have seen. I swear to 50% of the side characters in My Hero are better looking than her. Like, bro, what the heck? We can switch to Hellboy talking to the rest of them, as they're all kind of confused and actually kind of shocked by his appearance. Only a few of them, though. As Megamine's asking, like, are you a cursed spirit or something? But he's saying that I'm not, and basically Gojo might explain him more in depth to you. But I'm not really here to explain to any of you who or what I am. But actually, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to explain to you who I am. I'm Hellboy. As they all hear names of Hellboy around the pretty much campus and also around word of mouth. Because Hellboy is a big name in the Jujutsu Sorcerer community and also the Superior and Supernatural Defense Organization. Because everybody knows the Supernatural Defense Organization if they're in cahoots or in correlation with the Jujutsu Sorcerers. They start talking about how he's probably the most famous supernatural hunter, and he hunts both sides. Hellboy hunts cursed spirits when it comes to his attention, and he also mainly hunts demons and other creatures like that. Because sometimes, majority of the times, demons and cursed spirits are basically the same thing in this continuity or in this universe. So, or in this fan fiction. So basically, they start talking more and more about it. As one of them asks, are you like half demon or something? Or like, are you a cursed spirit with like a soul or something? As he basically goes on about how I'm not here to explain what I am to you guys, but I am here to basically drop off my apprentice. As Abe Sapien, he introduces himself, as they are also kind of confused by his appearance as well, since he's a fish dude, but they basically chalk it up to him being something else, because everybody knows other supernatural creatures exist besides only a few select people that keep their mouths and their basically minds and heads out of the whole supernatural universe besides cursed spirits. But Abe Sapien introduces himself to the rest of the class and talks about how he's basically a new student and he's here to train with them, eventually getting ready for the whole festival or event that's coming up. So they're going to be going up against other students from other Jujutsu Kaisen academies, and also they're going to be going up against other different characters from the Investigation Bureau. It's only about 2 to 3 different characters in the Investigation Bureau that's been aged down and that are in the Jujutsu Kaisen universe as students, besides Abe Sapien and a couple others, kind of like the Power Knight girl that we see in the original Hellboy series. But yeah, but enough of that. We can switch to Taijiro and Gojo training, basically to train him to use his cursed spirit energy better and more efficiently. Now we get switched to Ichidori earlier. But Megamine is training with some cursed items, as he's also basically trained alongside Hellboy as well. As he basically says that he wants to fight him, or they want to spar. Well, not him, but Hellboy wants to spar Megamine, saying that I want to see your limits and test you out. As we see that he proceeds to start sparring against him. As they start to spar more vigorously and training basically their asses off at each other, as Hellboy is basically going hams in. Not going full on strength, but he's mainly spamming his other arm, as Megamine's kind of figuring out that he hasn't once moved his other arm, the arm with the giant rock hand, not once throughout their fight. As he starts to fight a little bit harder and faster, eventually it's getting switched back to Gojo and Ichidori, basically training. As they're training more and more, but we get switched back to Abe Sapien talking to the other students or the other third years. As Hellboy's back inside talking to one of the other, teachers that are near the complex or near the area. Now we see that they're talking about cursed techniques and cursed items and how they really use their abilities, as they also ask, or Megumin specifically asks, how does his cursed technique work? As Abe Sapien does have cursed energy or cursed techniques actually alongside the ability to sense others' intentions and also be able to sense through walls and other things like Abe Sapien's original powers, being able to breathe underwater and swim underwater as well. Now, I don't know if Abe Sapien can swim supersonic levels of speed underwater, but this version of Abe Sapien can. He can swim around the same speed of Aquaman. While he's underwater, he's around the same strength, speed, and durability as comic book Aquaman. And comic book Aquaman's, he's like bulletproof, I think, underwater, or like knife proof, depending on what type of knife or bullets you have. Like if it's straight up Atlantean middle, then it probably will hurt him, but if it's just straight up normal steel, then it probably won't do much of anything. So we see that Abe's pretty weak on surface land, besides his cursed technique, as Abe's cursed technique allows him to, basically use a domain expansion. But it basically takes away all of the moisture in his body, making him basically a shriveled up raisin, killing him or nearly bringing him to the glimpse of death. His domain expansion is basically pretty simple. He can surround somebody in a area full of water, basically an underground Atlantis area, and they are basically set to be drowned in a suffering water. Basically, their soul and their will to fight slowly fading away and keeping them in a immense darkness filled with water. And the water slowly starts to boil around their body, burning them, and they're basically boiling them alive while taking away their will to fight and live. Basically, like, taking away everything they are, and then also killing them at the same time. It's like crazy. But we see that he also has this other cursed technique. He can basically control water waves. Basically, he can shoot water waves of cursed energy out of his body, kind of like a water bender, but he needs cursed energy around him to bend this water around. Plus, he also needs a outside source of water or purified water to water bend this cursed spirit water. Basically, pretty simple. He needs like a jug of purified holy water around him to use this curse technique. So yeah, his curse technique is kind of based off area, code, and if he has the objects around him to do it. Besides that, he is a pretty good box-to-box, like hand-to-hand fighter, and he can increase his speed and his strength with cursed energy, but only to a certain extent. Now, we see that he's around the same speed and strength level of Megumin on base form, besides all the other cursed energy speed. So we see that Megumin's talking about his cursed technique as well after pretty much Abe Sapien explains it all to them, as he basically says that he wants to try a new technique and he could probably try it out on what the others did. Now we can switch back to, Gojo. After Gojo would have left Ichidori to do what he was going to do. Now he left Ichidori and basically said he had to do some work and meet up with one of the head council members alongside one of his old friends, HELLBOY. As Ichidori says, HELLBOY, wait, I've heard about him on the news once on my occult group before I left school. He's supposed to be some sort of hero in the shadows, a demon, but here to help us. As he basically says that, yeah, the whole prophecy around him is complex, but overall he helped me and he saved my life once. So yeah, he's one of my closest friends. So he walks off and says he has to do some basically work, as he's in the car with HELLBOY and they're on their way there, but they get interrupted by the cursed spirit from earlier. Now we get switched to this part as basically Gojo says that he has to stop real quick here, as HELLBOY's asking why are you stopping here, as he says that I have to deal with something. As he lets them ride off, as HELLBOY already knows Gojo can handle it on himself. And he also is supposed to go meet up with the head council by himself, because he needs to talk about something very important that he started to figure out later in the upcoming weeks to come. We get switched to Gojo and his whole fight between this spirit and everything like that goes pretty the same. He also brings Ichidori to see the mayhem and the basically the main expansion he's supposed to release. Basically, it's simple. He just starts to wail on this dude, bro. Straight up drops him like no other, bro. As he basically drops them all, and yeah, but it's simple. The situation goes exactly the same. Nothing really changes at all. The pit is simple because this whole segment, Hellboy was off somewhere else doing something completely different. Now with this whole segment going on, we can switch to the cursed spirits alongside the other cursed spirit we saw earlier, and its head remaining after Gojo put the paws on him. But we see that they talk about it, but also one of the other cursed spirits talk about how maybe they should bring their attention to the new one. As they look in the corner, as there's some sort of demon in the corner lurking with a similar physique to Hellboy. But we're gonna get switched away from that. But we get switched to episode 8. With this whole series going on, we see that Panda's talking to the rest of the group about the whole entire thing, about how Kadoko's principal's coming over to discuss the whole situation about how they allowed those first years to basically get on their way to, well, handle that special grade. Now we get switched to, well, these new other two, well, students we see earlier, as we see that we get introduced to Mai and Toto. As we get switched to, well, them coming over, as Panda does talk about how they love harassing them, but it's only a slight possibility they might come down here because students aren't normally permitted to come to these type of meetings. But we get switched to Mine and Toto basically being introduced or talking to Megumin, the girl. I'm not wasting my time learning her name, bro. I hate her, bro. I don't know. It's just like a part of me just, it's like, bro, like, she's so weak, bro. Well, we see that they get introduced to the 3 other students, as pretty much Abe Sapien is here as well. Now, Abe is a first year at the Paranormal Investigation Bureau of Research, part of this universe, but he's also a first year here as well, but he was all doing something else completely different to the story before he even introduced himself to the rest of the group, aka the girl and Megumin. So what would happen is they start to talk to each other, as pretty much Toto says, "Whoa, what a freaky dude," as he looks at Abe and he's like, "Wow, I've heard stories about you guys, you and the demon, the Hellboy." As he says, "Yeah, Hellboy. She's my friend, my apprentice." As he says, "Oh, like how Gojo is your teacher." As Abe says, "It's yours, not yours." As Toto just says, "Shut up already, man." They start to talk a little bit more as he takes his shirt off and basically starts to press them, saying that, "I want to ask you something very special, both of you guys. What's your type of woman?" Bro, what? Bro, this really got me cracking up, bro. I'm like, bro, what, are you serious right now? You really about to box me over my preference of ladies? Are you serious right now? So pretty much he presses Megumin to ask him, what do you like? And basically Megumin is kind of on the spot, as he eventually just says straight up, it doesn't really matter who they are, what they look like, it just matters the character of the person they are. As the girl says, "Oh, okay, that's pretty gentlemanly," as both of the girls are actually taking that and accepting that answer. But Toto is like, "Are you for real right now, my mans? Is this nigga for real, bro? Are you for real right now? That's so basic, bro." As he looks over to Abe and tells him, "What do you like?" As Abe basically says that he basically likes the same thing. And Toto's like, "Are you guys serious? You are so basic." As he basically rushes towards both of them and start paying the brakes on them, bro. This shit ain't even funny for real, bro. He boxes both of them back to back to back. Like, they getting dropped expeditiously, bro. They start getting dropped back to back to back. As eventually Toto says that, "You can try any technique you want on me, but it's not gonna help you." As they're both like going in their heads, Abe and Megumin, saying that, "Oh, we know that this dude has hands. He dropped like 50 spirits, bro. Like, he's like a big name in his industry." He was also a helper at one point alongside the investigation of Bureau, as he did take down a freaking werewolf barehanded, bro, and didn't even get turned. And they start to get going crazy as Megumin pulls off his frog technique, or whatever, his frog curse technique, as he easily gets dropped. I mean, bro's getting dropped. But he also is a little bit helped out by Abe's water bending, as Abe starts to hit him with water attack after water attack after water attack. As Toto's starting to get a little bit overwhelmed by this fury of attacks and how fast and pretty much precise they're coming towards him. But eventually it stops as Toto's kind of confused, as pretty much Abe underestimates the amount of holy water that's around him, as he only has 2 jugs, and the third one he left back at his dorm room here. So basically, it's simple. He's out of utility. He's out of pretty much firepower. He's out of it. As basically we see that he gets back up as he's about to pit the hands on Abe. As Abe saves last minute by, we see that Megumin's about to release the dragon, bro. About to pop off. He's about to pop off. He's about to go crazy. But he gets stopped last minute by Key. And I'm basically shortening his name. The sound, basically, I guess, Black Bolt of this universe. Basically, he drops his tells Toto to stop, don't move. As they all get stopped, and Panda jumps in, giving a mean uppercut to this dude, sending him flying, bro. But he gets pushed back and basically says that, whatever, dude. As they start to kind of release this whole thing, as we get switched back to Mine, basically dropping the girl. I mean, she's putting in bullets after bullets up in this girl, bro. Like, it's not even funny. She's getting laid out like a sack of potatoes, like a whole rug. I mean, like a whole rug of dirt cheap. Like, she's getting dropped. But they easily get stopped real quick by the girls, and the whole, like, their whole, like, it doesn't really change too much. I don't really care about the whole segment in this episode, but what happens is we get switched to the rest of everybody else, as they're kind of just confused about what's going on. But eventually we get introduced to, like, the backwash of the 2 girls and their twin connection and everything between that. But mainly, if you know me, I'm not gonna be narrating all the other points of the story that isn't changed by the main what if story point. So to put it simple, we can switch to Gojo and Hellboy talking to the head counselor member, as basically we see that the blue-haired girl is actually kind of like straight up, I mean, geeking over Gojo and Hellboy, because Hellboy seems to be a really big name and very heroic type of character in this industry, but also seems to be a big part of both worlds, mainly more of the FBI for Supernaturals. Basically, her trying to get a autograph and picture with both of them. As eventually, their whole conversation kind of ends pretty quickly and abruptly, but they also start talking about the other cursed spirits and about how everything's going down. Gojo maybe does the majority of the talking, as Hellboy's smoking a cigar right now. But basically, they get stopped and they basically are walking out. Now, eventually, as they're walking out, they get stopped last minute by the blue-haired girl. The blue-haired girl basically begs them for a picture, as they do both a picture, as she also asks if she could touch the Hand of Doom, or whatever it's called, basically the Hand of Doom on Hellboy, as Hellboy says, yeah, sure, as she basically pretty much taps it, touches it, saying it's super awesome, and this is actually a part of you. And Hellboy says, yeah, it is. So he basically moves his arm around and says that, have a nice day, as they walk away. As she's kind of still somehow, it's still underlining type of fear towards Hellboy, since he's basically a freaking demon, but still at the same time, he still has a very heroic soul, and he basically, his name and his reputation has kind of gone up in the scale of this universe. But still, there is people out there that are on the Jujutsu Kaisen, basically fandom, and also the Jujutsu Sorcerers League, that honestly a little bit are scared and actually want to take down Hellboy permanently, just like how they want to take down Sukuna. But Sukuna and Hellboy, their stories, their interlockings, they have a lot more of a history towards each other, more than you could possibly understand. But I'm gonna leave it up here, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and as always, guys, have a blessed day. Sorry this wasn't too much action besides Abe and Megumin getting their booties handed to them expeditiously, no pause. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and as always, guys, have a blessed day, and we're gonna be focusing a lot more on Hellboy in part 2.